How about Ace Attorney Chronicles next? With some cartoon-ass logic. Perfect. I thought ahead of you. Isn't it great? Welcome to Everybody's an Idiot, but we have the most complicated cases that are not complicated, yet they are. Sherlock Holmes. Do you know why they renamed him to Sherlock Holmes? It's because the IP holder of Sherlock Holmes made a fuss about it, so they renamed him to Sherlock Holmes in some countries. I mean, it's easier than go to court, right? They already make a game about court cases, so they know how stupid it is to go to court. So it makes sense. Isn't it because expensive to buy Sherlock Holmes' name? It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter if it's buying the name, a license, or just like, I don't let this happen. It's easy. You just rename the character and go like, well, it's not the same thing. Sherlock Holmes. You know, Sherlock Holmes. Yeah, that famous detective that never existed. Well. He's an idiot, yeah. Great detective. So, you're a great detective, are you? Sorry, what was your name again? Indeed, I am none other than the one and only Sherlock Holmes. Oh, I see, you're German? Sherlock, was it? No, I have no her. I mean, I have hair. Please call me Holmes. You can read all about my exploits in this exciting London publication. Oh yes, Rand's magazine. Full of wonderful short stories and interest articles from Great Britain. I never miss an issue. I have it sent from England especially. Yes, here it is. The Adventures of Sherlock Holmes. So, you're the protagonist in a series of short stories then? Long live the Queen. I'm sorry, the Queen is dead. You have to say long live the King now. Indeed I am. Impossible. She lives in our hearts. You know, for the fact that the Queen wasn't often in public, it is quite interesting to see. Like, it's quite interesting to hear from people who work in the palace and go like, yeah, she's actually quite funny. And even more so when they started doing like social media stuff, when you literally have the entire royal family doing the whole thing. What was it? What? You know, when they are all just sit and do something, and then it goes with the music, and then everything changes, and everybody's dancing or doing some bullshit. That meme? The royal family did that. And I was like, what? Harlem Shake. There That's it. So the royal family did the Harlem Shake. Yes. Which is quite strange to see. I mean, in a modern society, her position doesn't have much power anyway, so all she had to do was to enjoy life and sometimes show up in public. Yeah. I mean, you can still ask yourself, why does the royal family still exist? Like, it has no meaning. And you've read so many of your own stories, you've started to think you really are a detective? Make no mistake, I'm not the poor deluded fellow you take me for. Uh-huh. Your inference is backward. Backward? My trusty biographer records my greatest detecting achievements and chronicles them in the magazine. You have a biographer, do you? Doesn't everyone? Mine goes by the name of Dr. Wilson, presently keeping shop in London. Dr. Wilson? Oh, you mean that guy who's dead? Oh, I'm sorry. He's basically dead. I must say, thanks to that publication, I've been fantastically busy of late. Why, this very moment I'm returning from Asia, having solved the mystery of a cursed royal crown. Really? Can't work out whether I should take this man seriously or not. No, you do not. Deduction, you see, is to me a science. Logical reasoning in its purest form. Yeah, we heard that logical reason just before. A science! She's fascinated. He did a science. Really? The astute observer notices even the most subtle of reactions in his subject. A furtive glance, a twitch of a muscle, a slight inclination of the posture. Fingernails, arm sleeves, furrows in the skin, all these things are data. No, data is a white android in Star... Oh, wait. Right. And the trained logician makes deduction from this data in the blink of an eye. The ultimate conclusion is, without fail, the truth. So just slap the word science on anything he says makes it seems like he's a genius. Of course it is. How about you go to my bedroom and we test that science, coffee? For science! Let's do a science. As I demonstrated only a few short moments ago. Can he look at me in the eye and claim that? For research purposes. You see, I have a turn both for observation and for deduction and fame. That is what makes me the one and only Herlock Sholmes. Right. Have you managed to deduce anything about this particular case yet? Have I managed to deduce anything, my dear fellow? You know, I just noticed that he literally does exactly the same pose as Kazuma. Like, this is exactly the same pose. Why? That's what you call a budget. Can we animate this character a little bit different? No, just copy pasted this shit. Walmart Kazuma. Who do you suppose discovered the culprit in his most cunning hiding place? That's right. It was none other than the great detective before you now, Mr. Herlock Sholmes. Ah, I see. In other words, I'm in these now because of him. When I became anxious about Kazuma-sama this morning, I summoned all of the crew members to force the cabin door open. And I concealed myself among their number, gaining entry to the scene of the crime. Yes, luckily for everyone, the great detective Herlock Sholmes was on board. And the handcuffs seem to be an excellent fit, Mr. Naruhodo. Ah. The very moment I laid eyes up on the scene, two facts were immediately apparent to me. Oh god, I will regret clicking the next text. Oh really? Two facts, you say? Mr. Sholmes, tell us please. What two facts were apparent to you when you came into this cabin this morning? Ah yes, but first let us be precise. The two facts in question were immediately apparent to me. You said that. Yes, I understand, but what were they? Why does he speak flawlessly Japanese, by the way? That's my other question. Allow me to elucidate. The two facts that I deduced from a mere momentary glance at the scene of the crime were as follows. Number 1. The cabin was locked from within, rendering escape of the culprit out of question. Wrong. Number 2. The victim was Russian and killed following a dispute with an acquaintance. Double wrong. Hold on, Mr. Sholmes. What made you think the victim was Russian? Observe the dying message left by the victim on the floor. Great! What is he going to do to someone who's speaking more than one language? Oh, he wrote in Arabic. Must be an Arabian, right? Looking at the most African looking guy on the floor. Like, sure. Tapeo Pog. Tapayo. No, Tapaye. Tapaye Pog. Tapaye Pog. Draw a picture. It must be an Egyptian. Oh. Partial fursuit found dead on the floor. Must be Egyptian. That word is the Russian word for wardrobe. To Susato. Susato? Susato is the girl. Okay. Do you really think Kazuma-sama could have left a dying message in Russian? No, since he doesn't speak Russian. In the final moments, many find their native tongue filling their head. For this young man, Russian. Kazuma was Russian? Was he? Initially, I considered Garderobe may be the name of the killer, a certain Robert Gard, perhaps. This is probably an Easter egg to Sherlock Holmes stories. Garderobe. But in the interest of thoroughness, I decided it would be wrong not to look inside the wardrobe there at least. Where you found Mr. Naruhodo sleeping soundly. Quite so, I found you, the renowned Russian revolutionary killer. Why is it that I am Russian too? As we are speaking Japanese right now, it's absolutely clear that you can only be Russian. They speak only one language. I observed that you were wearing the same attire as the victim. In other words, you were acquainted. And if my memory serves, that outfit is the traditional dress of the Russian people. The school uniforms are the traditional dress of the Russian people? I had no idea. Why is she stupid? Is this contagious? Like one is dumb and then other people become instantly more dumb? And I had no idea a detective could get something so wrong. I took a photograph of the victim and the message that I might analyze it for possible hidden details. Dumb and Dumber reference. This was taken immediately after the young man was discovered before the body was removed. Yes, Kazuma has already been taken away when I woke up. This is the first time I've actually seen him like this. Stupid is contagious. Luckily, Asla has not defined the user, therefore he sneezed on Elon Musk. Are you alright, Mr. Naruhodo? Oh, yes, thank you. The photograph of the crime scene has been entered into the court record. Joke's on you, I have no brain cells. Elon Musk resisted the attack. Seems he's got a tolerance for stupid since buying eggs. Ah, there's my bot. My daily bot just got banned. Can I ask you something, Mr. Sholmes? What, pray? You mentioned Russia before as well, didn't you? You know, when you said I was a fearsome revolutionary fleeing from Russia and all of that. Ah yes, the train of reasoning that led me to the truth. Would you mind explaining the train of reasoning to me, do you think? Oh hey ho! Certainly, if it interests you. I always read Russian as it stands there. I don't give a shit. How many times I'm not Russian and I don't speak Russian? Can we talk about the deduction before? The things you concluded about me, I mean. Ah, the now famously accurate, troubling predicament you find yourself in. Actually, it was the other details that I was more hoping to discuss. You know, the merciless Russian revolutionary and assassin of 16 part. Ah yes, the more sordid details. It was a fairly commonplace deduction. Here we have this morning's paper. The main headline reads... That's completely different! Revolutionary violent Bolshevik flees Russia via Shanghai. This vessel made a port call at Shanghai yesterday, and last night the young Russian was murdered. Since when was Kazuma Russian? It sounds like Mr. Sholmes has concluded he was Russian because of what Kazuma-sama wrote on the floor. It was a simple act of reasoning to realize that the culprit of this crime was the same merciless revolutionary. One who would kill the very man who helped him to escape after his true identity was discovered. Yes, you villain Bolshevik. No, how could it be me? I don't look anything like this man. Just look at his face. Well, you are a fearsome revolutionary after all. What does that even mean? Therefore, you have no doubt learned to revolutionize your appearance as well. I'm gonna kill this guy. This guy would be rich for every bullshit he just said. Oh, please. And I might add, your name does not appear on the ship's passenger list. Need I say more? Well, that's because I'm a stowaway. What about the other details? The 16 victims of assassination and blowing up the Crystal Tower. What Crystal Tower? This is not Final Fantasy. Ah yes, the journalist clearly interviewed the man and printed all those particulars in the article. The deeds the man has perpetrated thus far, and those he is plotting. Yes, everything about this revolutionary Bolshevik was included. There can be no mistake. Do revolutionaries usually agree to interviews with newspaper reporters, I wonder? I'm not even sure if she asked that. And what about the part where you said I was just returning from Afghanistan? Al-Qaeda! Which is not funny because Al-Qaeda is garbage. Also, quite clearly stated here in the article, Bolshevik is recently returned after a period of subversive activities in war-torn region Afghanistan. Where even is it anyway? This Afghanistan place. Here, take the paper for yourself, as a little memento for this great deduction. Oh, thank you. I've absorbed all that is of interest to me within its pages, but I see no rubbish bin nearby. The article about the revolutionary has been entered into the court record. And you might find the article on the back page of interest as well. On the back? Cast your eye over it sometime if the interest takes you. Though you may need someone to interpret. It's all written in Russian. I couldn't hope to read it. But I suppose it wouldn't hurt just to glance at the article. Maybe there might be a picture or two. These games were made to make people more stupid. Like literally. Even I don't know which of those two is talking. I'm afraid I can't read a word of... no, it's her. I'm afraid I can't read a word of Russian. No, me neither. I have no idea what any of this is. The pair of you floundering is a sorry sight. Allow me to offer some assistance. The article on the front page of this new newspaper is concerned with the fearsome Russian revolutionary. It reads, Revolutionary van Bolshevik flees Russia via Shanghai. Yes, you told us that before. There's a spy among us. Oh no, not a spy? How dare you? It reveals also that those who see the man's beard with their own eyes never live to tell the tale. So basically everybody who read this newspaper and looked at this picture gonna die. I have found the solution to our Russian problem in real life. I don't know. It's Ace Ventura. Oh my goodness, he is fearsome. Well, presumably the newspaper photographer was alright, wasn't he? The solution is obvious, of course. If he despises his beard to that degree, he need only to shave it off. People can play this game without giving negative reviews on Steam. I'm not quite sure. That's the that's the problem, Mr. Sholmes. Uh-huh. Oh look, Deadly Ballet. Deadly Ballad. Cool. Quapla. This is interesting. I cannot read it. Have you found something relevant, Naruhodo-san? Well, no, I mean, it looks like it might be interesting. Suddenly the entire picture becomes clear. It's like from 240p to, I don't know, 720p? Can't read a single word, I'm afraid. No, nor can I, but look at this picture. Perhaps it's about a beautiful young Russian princess, do you think? Anesthesia this patient, please. She's very pretty, isn't she? I suppose you enjoy articles like this, do you? I don't know. I can't make sense of it. I'm glad you've noticed this article. As he walks into her and pushes her to the ground. Oh, I'm sorry. Allow me to give you a short summary of its content. Oh, thank you. It pops up everywhere, this Mr. Sholmes. It's about the disappearance of a young lady last night. Renowned prima ballerina of the Novavich Ballet, or Ballet, disappears from Shanghai. During a performance in Shanghai, the famous dancer was reported missing. She is, of course, the talented young Nikolina Pavlova. Why are Russian names so hard to remember? Because you don't. That's the thing. That's why they drink. They don't remember their names. They just go like, duh. How the fuck is this game overwhelmingly positive with how the first 10 hours is going? Because in the end, it's still very entertaining. But at the same time, it's also like, why is everybody like more stupid than a 1 year old? It would appear the woman was in the costume when she was found to be missing from her dressing room. Wearing the diamond tiara you see pictured, which is worth some 20,000 rubles. Is that much? At this rate, it's gonna end up at least 30 hours before the game actually gets serious. The game gets never serious. Oh, how much is 20,000 rubles? That's basically what I asked. I have no idea, but I'm quite sure. It must be an unbelievable sum of money. Them being Japanese, paying in yen. For them, that's like less than $200. Like 20,000 yen is less than $200. Like, what? Okay, I take it back. We'll go draw a talisman and curse this game's writer for the next 10 generations. I'm really curious, like 20,000 Russian rubles. Rubles too? What? No. What's the shortcut for rub? The shortcut? The shortcut for rubles? Russian rubles is rob. Yes, rob. Rob. Rob this. Yeah. So Russian rubles is basically as shit as yen. Rub these nuts. Yes. Rub that money on these nuts. Susato-san's eyes are shining like diamonds themselves. The tiara is the property of Novavich Ballet, or Ballet. It would seem the director is beside herself with worry. Yes, I'm not surprised. The company is most anxious to recover both Miss Pavlova and the valuable tiara. the valuable tiara of $230. Oh my god. Look, when in the end this specific case goes towards the direction of like, this was all about to cover up her escaping and taking the tiara with her because she needed money, and this is like $230 worth. And creating and killing someone for that, if that's gonna be the conclusion, then I'm like, what? They've requested international assistance to all ports with sailings to Great Britain. Could this be another case of a Russian fleeing his or her country? It does seem to be the Russian thing to do. What if she pawned it at the and moved to Thailand? Then she probably would be rich. She could also move to Vietnam. Think about that. I'm not even going to dignify that with a response, Mr. Naruhodo. Thai food is amazing. And Vietnamese food is not worse. Article about the ballerina has been entered the courtroom records. She's beautiful. Just look at her. What a beauty. Who could resist her? She's perfect, yes. Before we started talking, you were examining Kazuma's desk, weren't you? Kazuma? Ah, yes, the victim. Did you notice anything useful? Anything at all? I found me. Observe for a moment the desktop of the victim. It runs Windows 95. We see the victim was engaged in penning some text. London diary. Kazuma was keeping notes of the trip. I don't know if I mixed up voices. But I don't think you should read this his private writings. It could upset people. Tragic. And something you ought to perhaps elucidate before the act of reading. You mean you've read it already? It is my business to know what other people do not. Yes, I believe it or not, I know a smattering of Japanese. That I actually believe because we are conversing in Japanese the entire time. This British German person with me, the Russian Japanese. Oh, I see. Well, you're about to know what a Susato takedown is. And she isn't doing it. Susato-san, aren't you going to throw the detective with one of your trademark takedowns? I'm sorry, Naruhodo-san. What on earth do you mean? Life is so unfair. Anyway, to return the matter at hand, namely this diary belonging to the victim. Okay, she's just an asshole. Maybe she just has a hatred towards us for the moment, as we are still looking like the one who murdered Kazuma. in contrast to this guy, which she sadly looks up to. It would appear the final sentence is incomplete, as if the author were cut short. Smile, pun intended. Tell me, what is the nature of the writing? Pray be precise as to details. Oh, but I thought you knew Japanese. A smattering, dear boy. A smattering. That's why we have a fluid conversation in Japanese with each other. And she actually believed that Naruhodo is the spy, even though she saw him in Japan. Yes, he is now Russian. It makes perfect sense. Sayonara, Bonsai, Mikado, Nado. I trust you're suitably impressed. Honestly, even I don't understand what Nado should mean. Mikado is a game. Bonsai is a bonsai. The only Japanese I see right here is Sayonara. And I don't know, what is Nado? Nado. Nado. Nado is a game. But I guess, I don't know. Nado. Nado is Japanese. It is the Romaji transcription of this. And the Nado means etc. and so on. Etc. or and so on. Nado. The only place this dude is going to is a psych ward. This diary is littered with complicated looking characters, of which I can read precisely none. Nah! He's so happy, look at him. So what was all that showing off about before then? If you would like to be so kind to show me, I would happy to read it to you, Mr. Sholmes. I'm much obliged, my dear madam. The final entry here in Kazuma-sama's diary consists of just 2 short sentences. The first reads, 1:23 a.m. I can hear Bob Ross painting on a canvas. I can hear a faint whistling sound. A whistling sound? These are very deep waters. Pray, go on. The second sentence reads, 1:35 a.m. It is time to hydrate and stretch, Chad. Therefore, you should do that. It's good for you. Never. Suit yourself. What looks like some sort of speckled band is dangling from the ventilator grill. Why can't the grill crawl? Why can't summer crawl? Speckled band? What on earth does that mean? It's a snake! We have established that before the chapter even started. I have no idea. I've never heard that expression before. The ventilator grill, you say. The man was presumably referring to the girl there on the wall, which connects to the adjoining cabin. Yes, the adjoining cabin. So I'm lurking whilst doing my chores and stuff, but yeah, I played the original Ace Attorney on my DS, and my verdict is that all the characters are morons and the mystery is so surface level and basic, I feel like I'm playing baby's first What done it? Who done it? And it's so drawn out it gets exhausting. Danganronpa has the same problem. I have to say, if you never played Danganronpa, I would say they have actual cases in there where say like it's not really that obvious. It becomes obvious at some point, but I feel like a lot of the cases are not so obvious from the get-go. I like the aesthetic of both games, Danganronpa more so than Ace Attorney. Understandable. It's too bad that Danganronpa was like, the first one was like good, and then it became bad, badder and baddest. So, Kazuma's diary has been entered into the court record. Monokuma is my spirit animal. He is a hero. I mean, I look at this case and I think to myself, okay, so Kazuma got attacked by a snake. He fought the snake, therefore everything is in ruins on the table and on the floor. Makes sense. There's probably blood from the snake because he hit the snake at some point. The thing that is not so clear right now is why would anyone just kill Kazuma? Like, that reason is nowhere right now. Why did someone make the effort to write something in Russian here? And it is not entirely clear if Kazuma really wrote this. That's all. It's like the snake came in through the air vent, but I have a feeling that the snake went out here through this and not back into the air vent. And more than that, I don't know. Probably because Sholmes did it, since he's the only character that knows Russian. His entire plan was to use his hero worship to frame you. Because he's British, which means he is a snake. That makes perfect sense. Do you have somewhere to go? Yes, I need to take a big shit. As it happens, the victim's writings in his diary have piqued my interest. The matter warrants further investigation, I believe, and if I'm still too long, the seasickness takes hold. What? Oh, I suppose. You're thinking of the investigating the cabin next door, which the ventilator connects to. Great detectives are a curious breed. Our minds rebel at the stagnation. We crave mental exaltation. Words. So yes, I intend to investigate. Hence, the truth will become clear soon enough. Do you think perhaps that we could go with you? No, that would be somewhat complicated. What? But why? A simple glance at your wrists should reveal the answer. Oh, these. After all, you're the prime suspect in this matter, no? There's no point trying to turn me into a question. You're the one who decided that I was the culprit in the first place. Whatever do you mean? I have no recollection of naming you as the culprit at any point. You must be joking. You just said it only a moment ago. Dear me, you are clearly misguided. I would have no cause to say such a thing. Well, actually, Mr. Sholmes, I did hear you say that too. You're quite sure? Well, that's very strange, because I have a bad memory. I wouldn't have said you had the face of a criminal, you know. Not really. So what? You were looking at me, at my knees. You were looking at my knees before? Some great detective you are. Well, anyway, that was then and this is now. What do you mean? What I mean, sir, is this. If you're the culprit, then you must play the part more convincingly. Roll over and accept your fate. Now he's just being plain rude. I know of stupid people in real life, but he is like triple S tiering that. Hardcore. And off he goes, having just laughed in my face, his sense of humor as twisted as his name. Naruhodo-san, what are you just standing there for? Huh? We must go and investigate the cabin next door as well. Aren't you forgetting something? What about these? It's like, hiya! Stupid Pro Plus 11. After Kazuma-sama spent his dying moments struggling to leave us a clue, you're willing to give up? You're just going to roll over and accept your fate? As if you gave me any choice in the rolling over part. I think we still have some investigation to finish off in here first, don't we? Let's carry on examining what we can in this cabin while we wait for a chance to slip next door. She's Moron Plus. She's Moron Pro plus 10. Good idea. Situation doesn't look good for me, but there are still things I do to help myself. And I owe it to Kazuma to do everything I can to find a way out of this and bring the real culprit to justice. And the culprit, clearly, after all these facts, is clearly Kazuma. He killed himself by attacking himself intentionally. He fought his own katana. The power to believe in the power of the katana gave the katana life. No, he didn't commit Sudoku. He fought the ghost of his katana, his own spirit. It makes perfect sense. It's a Russian tradition. Is something wrong, Naruhodo-san? Oh, no, it's just that crewman standing there by the door. Can't help feeling like I've seen him somewhere before. Oh yes, you're right, he does look familiar. Is that the actual Russian guy? I wonder. Excuse me, sir. Da, 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 dot, dida. Um, how do they communicate? I have honestly to ask, like, these guys are from Japan, they never learned any other language. How do they communicate? Like, it's not like them understanding English and everybody's talking English. Whatever. Yes, what can I do for you? Oh god, it's the inspector. Why is he here? Why is the inspector here? I recognize that face, but it can be. He's still dying. It is. I didn't know you were here, Inspector Hosonaga. Hello again. What are you doing? What are you doing here? I think that should be my line. I was so stunned when I saw you, my heart stopped. Still holding his imaginary handkerchief. He's still imaginarily dying. Nearly stopped, I hope. I received some special orders to go undercover as the member of the crew and board this ship. Again? You certainly seem to enjoy undercover work, Inspector. If there's anything I can do to help you, please ask. I've never expected to see this man on board, but perhaps his presence can help me out in this hopeless situation. Uh, so what are your special orders this time, Inspector? Yes, and why are you dressed as a member of the crew? I'm so sorry. Huh? This is all my fault. I take full responsibility. For what? I murdered your friend. My orders were to act as Asogi-san's bodyguard. It was Minister of Justice Chikoku? It was Minister of Justice Chikoku who pushed for this overseas study tour to go ahead. And he entrusted me with ensuring that Asogi-san reached Great Britain without being assassinated. What? Why would you expect that he would get assassinated? Huh? Huh? What is this? Next time I go somewhere, I have to assume I'm getting assassinated because I leave somewhere? Assassinated? How? How could that even be been a possibility? I'm not sure. But these are complicated times. There are tensions between the world's greatest powers. Which one? Don't tell me Japanese is one of the great powers. I mean, mhm. La 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 la. I just want to tell you, if you do not speak Japanese, that Chikoku means hell. So this guy's name is Minister Hell. Said we would be prepared for all eventualities. Everything but Kazuma fighting a snake and dying. This is incredible. I don't believe it. Kazuma-san was assassinated? No, he just died. He fell over and broke his knee and bled out. Obviously, we couldn't give Asogi-san a visible security escort. Which is why I undercover now, posing as one of the crew. I see. And I didn't take my eyes off him the entire time we've been here on board, from morning until night, every day, except for yesterday. Normal human only has around 6 HP maximum. you know in D&D stat block language. And the snake can deal up to 10 damage per bite, piercing damage and poison damage. Why do you send your players then against anything else than a snake? Like literally, make them go through the most terrible dungeon, wear them out, they are almost there, and then the final boss, a huge gigantic monster, steps out of the darkness and your entire crew goes like, oh god, can we do this? And then it falls over, dead, and the snake slithers on top of the dead monster, and the GM goes like, and here's your final boss, a snake. So Kazuma's death from a random ass snake is quite likely. Well, you know, basically every venomous snake is quite deadly. But I never imagined it would happen here inside his own cabin, not here on the first class deck. Yes, because assassins have no access to first class. I failed miserably at my assignment, and Asogi-san is dead as a result. I will now commit Sudoku. I'm a disgrace. All I can do is humbly apologize. I can only put on the doggy ears and the doggy tail, fall on my knees and go, woof woof, I was a bad boy, punish me. Because depends on how long he laid there, the bite wound would be very difficult to be found. Yeah. Inspector. So if there's anything at all that I can do to help now, just say the word. Woof woof. We are doing what we can to investigate Kazuma's death ourselves. I thought you might be. You didn't do it, did you? You're not the killer. Of course not. We'd really like to investigate the cabin next door. Yes, so we can be allowed out of this cabin. I'm sorry. What? You've been deemed to a risk to the ship's safety. If you moved even to touch the handle of the cabin door. That stormy-looking seaman there would surely snap your neck in two. I suppose I'm not just a stowaway now, they think I'm a murderer as well. Would it be possible to give me something to work with, do you think? I'm going to need something persuasive. What do you mean? If I had a solid reason why the next door cabin should be investigated, for example, I would do everything I could to persuade the captain to allow it. Really, I would lay my life on the line if I had to. But I don't see how. Just get naked. There may be a way. What? Really? Think of how you try to persuade me of your innocence, Naruhodo-san, by presenting me with a piece of evidence that you already had in your possession. Evidence? I never heard of that word. It's just the same as when you are in court. You must have done it many times during your trial. Over and over again. Simply select Present panel and choose some evidence that Inspector Hosonaga could use. So evidence that would give us a viable reason to investigate the next door cabin, is it? Alright, yes. I think I know what we can use. Let's see if I can present the detective with the evidence he needs to persuade the captain. Well, it's basically this, right? What's that? It's a notebook. It's Kazuma's diary. Just before he died, Kazuma-sama wrote something rather strange in his diary. Strange? In what way? He wrote what looks like some kind of speckled band is dangling from the ventilator grill. It was a huge speckled band? That is strange. Yes, we're still trying to work out what he meant by that, but what I would like to know is... Don't tell me, the ventilator, is it? You're very astute, Inspector. That ventilator that ventilator clearly joins the next door cabin. That's right. So if we could investigate there, we might be able to work out what the speckled band was. Alright then. Can't leave this cabin at the moment. I'm stuck here until we arrive at the next port. The captain has given me strict orders to guard the scene of the crime, you see. I'll have to entrust the investigation to you. Really? You're willing to do that? Yes, as long as you don't leave the first-class cabin area. I'm afraid I can't remove those handcuffs, though. But what about the captain? Aren't you going against his direct orders? I'm a man of my word. And I'm dying. Still. And I promise that I'll lay my life on the line if that's what it takes to convince the captain. After all, I failed to keep Asogi-san safe. This is the least I can do. Thank you. Hontou ni domo arigatou gozaimasu.
Let's seize the moment then, Naruhodo-san. Just select move, and we can leave this cabin at last.
What is move?
Move.
Alright, let's see what he can find out. Prostici. Da. Nazva Donya. Bratislava. I don't speak Russian. Jem Tibi Eto Kainan. Okay. That's what you want us to think. Ah. Phew. Finally out of the cabin. I have to admit, this isn't quite what I'm expecting. It's less spacious out here than I thought it would be. This is the most luxurious accommodation. Yes, indeed. You are coming from Japan, where rooms are the size of a toilet, where people live in. And I look at this alley has more space than most full apartment rooms in Japan. And I mean the entire thing, not just one room. Kazuma-sama was being sent to his study tour by the government. That's why he was being put up in a first-class cabin. Ah, all you have to do is study and you get first-class cabins. I have to remember that the next time I take an airplane. I'm going like, I'm a student. And I go like, can you give us something that tells us where you study? And I go like, let me draw this on paper. Yes, I study something at home, therefore I'm a student, which is not a lie, by the way. And then the company goes like, you're right. We give you the prices of the economy and you can fly in first class. And I go like, it's great to be a student. I'm a student, get out of my way, peasant. I will be honest, Asla, I knew where you were going with that, but in my mind, the first thing I read when I just looked over the sentence, I was like, I'm a student, get out of my way, peasant. As yes, students, the most well-treated and wealthy people in the world. Yeah. These damn pheasants. Even still, this is about twice as large as my accommodation in steerage. Really? This must be awful. No, actually it's twice as big as my room at home. Duh. Oh look, over there. It's another crewman keeping watch, and he looks enormous, even if he's sitting down. Oh, look at this. Nobody could put, like, a snake in there. The door next to him leads to the second-class accommodation. I suppose he's making sure that no one comes in here who shouldn't. I suppose. People in handcuffs. Naruhodo-san, you look like a little boy visiting a toy shop for the first time. I would have thought you would be used to the ship by now. We've been at sea for 2 weeks already. Well, yes, I know, but the thing is, I was inside Kazuma's trunk when I first came aboard. And ever since then, I've been shut up inside that little wardrobe. It must have been a very trying time for you. Please, don't give me that pitying look. Examine. Ah, the trap for catching mice. Point 1. You are not catching mice with with cheese. 0.2, that's an insanely huge amount of cheese. 0.3, that mouse trap is also insanely huge. 0.3, you don't put it in an alleyway. 0.4, especially not in the middle. Yes, we have plenty of those back home in Japan. Although they seem to be using a lump of chalk or something as bait. Well, chalk is not helping. Let me see. Yes, I think that's what it's called. Cheese. It's made from milk of cows. Something we do not understand in Japan until later on. And we will still be not good at making cheese. Cheese? I wonder what that tastes like. Very bad joke in my mind. You can't eat it, Naruhodo-san. The trap will snap shut on your fingers. Really? But... I suppose you're right. You weren't actually going to try it, were you? All I have to eat for the past couple of weeks is Kazuma's leftovers. You don't know how hungry I've been in the wardrobe. Poor you. I'll find you a little snack for you later. Blah. First class cabin number 1. Yes, that's our cabin. Not our cabin, it's Kazuma-sama's. Sorry? Your accommodation is confined in the wardrobe inside the cabin. You know how to make a stowaway feel small, don't you? As small as the wardrobe I've been calling home. These cabins are the finest on the ship. My own cabin is steerage in steerage is number 539, by the way. Why is she telling us that? How many 500 and how many cabins are there? What do you think this is? It's a very pleasing shape, isn't it? Oh no, he made a breaststroke. That's the emergency alarm. It's probably best not to touch it. Oh, an alarm. It says press only in times of emergency. It looks as though it sets alarm bells ringing all over the ship and brings the vessel to a complete stop. Oh, this? I have to see. What are you doing, Naruhodo-san? You mustn't touch it. But this is an emergency situation. Just look at these handcuffs. You know full well that's not what the alarm is for. You were going to bring this vessel to a standstill for no reason. It would be an even worse situation. I wish everything would just stop, this ship included. If you have to do something foolish, at least make it something that doesn't affect anyone else. Wise words. This looks like the plan of the SS Burya. It shows each deck look. The Burya is a large-scale steamship with a triple-skinned hull. What a marvel of engineering. Well, it's been playing on my mind for a while now, but how is it such a huge lump of metal doesn't sink to the bottom of the ocean? Oh, that's really quite simple, Naruhodo-san. Because the entire ship is made out of witches. And we all know witches are made of wood, and therefore they cannot sink in the water. It's so clear.
Why can't you understand the most simple things?
It is?
Well, consider the Japanese archipelago. Pelago.
Whatever. The islands of Japan?
Yes, they are not metal, but they are enormous lumps of earth many, many times larger than this ship. And they don't sink, do they? They've been floating happily on the sea since the gods created them. I believe it. The only reason the islands are afloat is literally because of the huge accumulation of jellyfish below them. Their strength alone keeps the islands afloat, and since jellyfish are very local to their birth area, they will never leave. So therefore, the islands are safe. They will never move away. It makes perfect sense.
I'm gonna get myself something to drink for no apparent reason. Ah. Hi. I tried to revive 2 brain cells that kinda died in the last 30 minutes. Ah. Of course, islands are floating in the water. What else? Is this game written by a 5-year-old? To be honest, a 5-year-old would probably make more sense than this. Well, I suppose so. You are completely right, and a smart girl. That's a huge book on top of the table there, and there's a pen next to it.
Yes, that looks like the ship's log.
Shall we have a little look through it?
The writing is so neat and precise. Every detail about the voyage has been meticulously recorded.
You wouldn't expect a rough and ready sailor to have such beautiful handwriting. And nothing, no reaction at all. I thought he might appreciate the compliment. He doesn't speak Japanese, you dolt. Hang on, are you saying you didn't know that islands are held up by jellyfish? The fact that I come up with this bullshit just proves that I'm better at making up bullshit than this writer is. I'm not sure that rough and ready is much of a compliment, Naruhodo-san, even to a sailor. I have a better question. I'm looking at this sailor and I ask myself, why is his shirt too short so he has a belly-free section? Are these Russian guys all belly dancers? I don't know. Anyway, last night's log is mostly blank. Presumably that means that there was nothing to report except the death. Excuse me, but could I ask Doma Bafanara Da You little stowaway murderer. That wasn't a good start, was it? Alright, let me try instead. Nastrovia da 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 da. Oh, I'm sorry. Good day, Mr. Sailor. I'm so sorry to trouble you, but could I perhaps ask something of you? Think the game is messing with our brain enough. You don't need to play along. Aww. Your little third-class lady's maid. Damn, son. Seem to have caught this sailor on a bad day, Susato-san. I am not sailor. My mother gave me name. I am senior crewman Beef Stroganoff. Beef Stroganoff. Paella, senior crewman. Paella. Beef Stroganoff. But Asla, is beef stroganoff your favorite dish? Or is beef stroganoff in a meat pie your favorite dish? Now that's a very important question, right? As a British person. Roast beef is the best. Phew, this thing is just to avoid eye contact, I think. Mr. Stroganoff, about this first-class cabin area. Here we are in finest part of Buria steamship for very important persons. What sort of very important persons? government officials, kings, queens, traveling in secret, many important persons. That is why I'm always guarding this place. Gosh, that's amazing. Take me there. But somehow I let stupid stowaway inside. I want to pick you up and throw you in ocean, but stroganoff is not animal. Stroganoff is food. Thank you?
If I may, I was wondering, is the cabin next to Mr. Asugi's currently occupied?
Duh. Even I can read this. Despite that I would pronounce it as ah. But it's duh. Sasato-san, did you understand that? Ah. Ah is coming from the furry language. It's like plap plap.
It sounded like da, which is German for there. I think it's probably Russian for German. I mean German. It's German for there. Yes. Or no.
Genius. It is not permitted to visit other cabins without invitation. Well, it sounds like there's somebody in the next door cabin at least. It's Sherlock Holmes.
Yes, it's tantalizing.
Could you tell us who's traveling in the cabin next door, next to Mr. Asogi's? His name is Mr. Grimsby Roylott. He's a very important Western gentleman. Is Grimsby Roylott a character from Sherlock Holmes? New art. Nice. Grimsby Roylott? Grimsby Roylott? Yes. Okay. He's the main antagonist in Sherlock Holmes. Western gentleman. Do not think about it. He has nothing to do with murder of student boy. How can you be so sure about that? Mr. Roylott is authentic Western gentleman. That reasoning, it's like, it's a joke on reality, and it is not a joke on reality. And it's like... Next time anyone accuses me of anything, I just stand there with some cheese, some chocolate, I don't know, a Swiss flag, and then I can say like, I'm an authentic Swiss person. I would never do anything bad. While still the murder weapon is like still stabbing the victim. What is cheese? We don't have that here in island nations. Asla, do you want to be offended? So there's this British person who moved from England to Germany. And they complained about the German cheeses and said, like, in Germany you cannot buy any cheddar that actually tastes good, because only British cheddar tastes good. I was confused because Americans are obsessed with cheddar, which I personally call plastic cheese, since their cheddar is like very orange. So I was like, okay, so if British people are so proud of their cheddar, I will try it. And in our grocery store, we have cheddar that comes from an old cheese maker from, I don't know, London or something like that. So I bought that. And it's like, not like a cheese that aged for like 1 year. It was like 2 years or something, or 1.5 years, something like that. And I tried it. And it was the most bland, boring cheese I have ever tasted in my life. And I was like, I don't understand. How can a British person say like that the British cheddar is the best and wonderful cheese on the planet when it has no taste? That's that. Such a man would have no interest in lowly student from insignificant Far East Islands. I'm wounded deeply. I don't believe you. That was harsh. Could you tell us when Mr. Roylott came aboard? That is none of your business. Come to think of it, even though we've been at sea for 2 weeks now and I've been in Kazuma's cabin the entire time, I've never once heard anything from next door cabin or even felt like there's anyone there. Well, presumably since this gentleman is occupying one of the first class cabins. He must be rather important, is that right? That is none of your business. Are you on watch here all the time, Seaman Stroganoff? Duh, all the time. So criminals like you cannot come in or get out. I wonder, could you tell us anything about last night at all? It is... it is sad about student boy. Were you on watch last night as well? Of course. And did you notice anything at that time? Anything unusual? Head. You got head? Duh. I mean, niet. Susato-san, did you understand that? I don't know if that was really niet. I don't know.
It was clearly a no.
I saw nothing unusual. Nothing at all. I'm not lying when I'm saying the truth that disguises the truth of the lie. I mean, cheddar is named after the town in Somerset. It's a major, mature cheese that goes well with other foods like ham, pickle, or maybe prunes. It is quite basic. It's a quite basic bitch cheese, but not to be confused with the cheapest processed cheese ever. It's like eating leerdammer declaring it the finest Dutch. Well, at least I hear someone else from the UK saying like, it's basic bitch cheese. I just don't understand how you can rave about this kind of cheese when it has like no flavor. It tastes like cheese. It tastes like cheese and a little bit sour, and that's it. There's nothing to it. And I say that because like I'm in Switzerland, which has like hundreds and hundreds of different cheese, and I can just go to the most known Swiss cheese and all of them have like 500% more taste than cheddar. As British cheeses go red, Leicester has more character. But to be honest, my favorite cheese is soft cheese, and brie is good. Yeah, even brie has more taste than cheddar. And therefore, I have the proof as I tried it myself. Cheddar is still the worst. Like it shouldn't even be called cheese. To be honest. It should be called milk tofu. That is a good description for cheddar. And then there is American milk tofu, which is orange. You have hundreds of cheeses too, but to be honest, our diet is quite basic. Tend to consume a lot of pastry products, sausages, meats. Oh, you tell me. It's the blander scale. If you want more complex flavor, you go to foreign restaurants. It's an insult to tofu and milk. It is. Cheddar is good when grated on things, especially spaghetti and bolognese. I will say no, because you could just get a cheese that actually has taste and put it on the same things, and you will tell me that it just is better because the cheese has actual flavor. But whatever. And you didn't hear any strange noises or sense anything wrong in some way? I said no. No. Sorry. I'm not so sure. I could have sworn he wouldn't catch my eye for a moment there. Well, thank you, Bob. I just did that. This is enough. I cannot say more now. Oh. It is time for me to report to Captain. You must return to cabin. Yes, alright. Bulkhead to second class area is stayed locked at all times. You escape when lobster whistles on top of the mountain. Or as English say, when the peaks fly. Swiss people bitches about shit cheese is is outside of Switzerland. Big surprise. But yeah, it's weird. Swiss chocolate and watches are more popularly sold here. I haven't tried Swiss cheese yet. Thank you for giving me something. Look, the worst part, Asla, is this. Americans are convinced that when they buy a cheese called Swiss cheese, that they buy Swiss cheese, like cheese made here. And I mind blow every American every time I tell them, like, Swiss cheese doesn't exist. Because America took the idea how we make cheese and produce it in their country. And because the way they make this cheese, they call it Swiss cheese because it's the Swiss way making of cheese. So they make one cheese that is not actually good, and call it Swiss cheese. And Americans are convinced we have one cheese. And I was like, no, we have hundreds of cheese. And Swiss cheese doesn't exist. Sadly, it's not a protected type of product. Yeah, but it's just stupid to assume that Swiss cheese is from Switzerland. It's like, no, it's not. For the record, Cornish pasties are protected. You cannot call it Cornish pasty if it isn't from Cornwall. Yeah. That's why I tell people, well, go buy Emmentaler or Gruyere, and suddenly you will realize, wow, that's actual good cheese. Like Emmentaler and Gruyere are like probably two of the most known Swiss cheese. Should protect all the cheese, really. Cheddar should only come from Somerset. If you want to impersonate it, call it cheddar. Easy. Cheddar. But here's the problem. Americans cannot pronounce cheddar. They don't understand SCH. Yes, I understand.
Good. Now we can investigate this area properly, shall we?
Definitely. What? But I was finished investigating this area. I'm confused. There's nothing to investigate here anymore. Huh? Ah, wait. One thing I didn't investigate. Truly. This one. This is it. I'm about to defeat the best 3 Pokemon trainers behind this door. This is the cabin next to ours. The one the ventilator connects to. I have such a bad memory.
Yes, the ventilator from which Kazuzama wrote that he saw a speckled band emerging.
Maybe whosoever in this cabin can be solved a particular mystery. Let's ask a strange sentence. Save me. No answer.
We're out of luck, it seems. Only Sherlock Holmes is in this cabin who could open this door for us.
Before I go shower, what cheese was it you got, by the way? I have to look it up, but I can write it to you in Discord later. How annoying. Ah, what was that? It came from inside the cabin. Such a high-pitched scream. It must have been a woman. Stand aside. I'm about to break the door down. I thought this guy was in the cabin already.
Mr. Schultz!
I shan't be stopped. When the fit is on me, I revel in kicking doors off their hinges. Right, I wanna see how you kick a steel door out of its hinges. Please do it, so you can die.
Please, wait, Mr. Schultz. The door doesn't appear to be bolted.
It doesn't? My tones aside, cheese isn't really something we make a huge deal of. I just checked my fridge and my parents had got extra mature cheddar from Pilgrim's Choice, which is mainly sourced from Ireland, which is famous for its butter and cheese. It is. Have a good stream until I'm back. Enjoy your shower. Take pictures or it didn't happen. You know the rules. But then, how the deuce can I dispatch this muscular urge? What, pray, can I kick? What the fuck is wrong with this guy? Kick her? Kick me? Kick the wall? Kick the chair? I think we should go in. There's no time to think about stress relief. Yeah. Who are you? Are you a Russian revolutionary guy? I was looking for him. Do Mike stop him? A Western gentleman? This man looks like Russian to me. We heard a woman scream. A woman? Don't be absurd. As you can see, there is nobody but me in this cabin. True, this old man does not appear to be the only person. This old man does appear to be the only person in here. But in that case, who just screamed? Get out, all of you, now! Please excuse the intrusion, but you're Mr. Grimesby Roylott, I believe. Yes, that's me. And you are? I am the one and only, the actual Sherlock Holmes. You've heard of me, no doubt. No. I am the great detective among great detectives. One who adorns the covers of popular magazines, no less. So I assure you, you may trust me completely. Man uses that magazine like a business card. A detective? I do not trust detectives. We distinctly heard a scream emanating from within these walls. But there wouldn't appear to be a lady concealing herself within the wardrobes this time. So might I be so bold to ask you to open that small traveling case? What? Don't be stupid. How could anyone fit in a small trunk like that? I guess you have never seen furries. Well, it's quite fashionable these days, is it not? Traveling inside one's trunk? Look at me.
Oh my! Did you see that, Mr. Naruhodo?
Yes, the case just shook. Leave, now, otherwise I'll call the steward. So this is Kazuma's neighbor, Mr. Grimesby Roylott. Or Grimsby, I just call him Grimesby. Sounds more funny. There's no doubt about it, this strange Russian man is hiding something. Like a face below this beard.
I couldn't agree more. Let's see if we can find some clues before the burly sailor returns.
And he just allows it, with scissors in his hands. Sure. Sounds extremely convenient. And logical. What do you think you're doing? This is my cabin. Get out.
Could we have just a quick look inside your traveling case, perhaps?
No.
What a pity. I think we're out of luck.
I think you're right.
There doesn't appear to be... there doesn't appear to be anything more we can do.
I agree, but there might be someone else who can help. Perhaps that great detective would get somewhere with Mr. Roylott. What do you think you're doing? This is my cabin. Yeah, okay. Mr. Roylott, Mr. Roy, we'd like to talk to you about something. No. Oh. I do not want to talk. Leave my cabin now. It's been terribly...
Not getting anywhere.
I agree. Perhaps. Do you have a moment, Mr. Sholmes? You need to address me as Sholmes. That's what I just did, isn't it? Well, Mr. Sholmes, what were you doing in there? Why, I was resting, of course.
Resting?
Indeed, it was contemplating our sea voyage from the confines of the wardrobe whilst waiting. Waiting for the inevitable time that you would need to call my great powers of detection into service.
Oh!
And it would seem that the hour is upon us now. The time has come. Am I mistaken? Well, no, actually, you're spot on for once. Observe closely. Our Russian host in this cabin, Mr. Roy, is clearly trying to hide something. And do you know what is the most effective weapon to use against Russian hiding a secret? And now he's convinced that this guy is a Russian. Why? The truth, of course. Though it should be pointed out that such methods are not exclusively for Russians. Right. Can you imagine how the Russian will react when the secret he guards is so closely is exposed? Would you like to witness it?
Oh, yes, please.
Well then, what are you about to see may well astound you.